Robber Raccoon by Thomas Lawrence. There was a big old house by the woods. For a long time, no one lived there. Then, one day, a family came to live in the house. The mother and the father were Mr. and Mrs. Newman. The boy in the family was Ben. The girl was Alice. They all liked the big old house by the woods, but they had lived in the city, and the old house seemed very quiet. "My, it is quiet here," said Mrs. Newman. "It's so quiet it's spooky," said Ben. One night, the Newman family was watching TV. "What's that?" said Alice. "What's what?" said Ben. "That noise," said Alice. "I hear something funny." "It's the TV," said Ben. "No," said Alice. "I hear something outside." "I don't hear anything," said Mr. Newman. "I don't hear anything," said Mrs. Newman. "And it's bedtime now." Ben and Alice went to bed. But soon Ben cried, "What's that?" "What's what?" asked Alice. "That noise outside," said Ben. "I hear it too," cried Alice. "Go to sleep," said Mrs. Newman. But then there was a bang. Bang! Crash! Bang! It came from the back of the house. Mr. Newman put the lights on, and they all ran out to see what it was. No one was there. "I told you it was spooky here," said Ben. Then they saw the garbage can. It lay on its side, and the garbage was all over the yard. "Oh," cried Mrs. Newman, "someone pushed over the garbage can." "Maybe it was a spook," said Ben. "I'm scared," said Alice. They put the garbage back in the can and went back to bed. The next night, the Newman family was watching TV again. "What's that?" said Ben. "I hear it too," said Alice. "It's coming from the window. I'm scared." "Something is watching us," cried Ben. "I can see it at the window." "I see it too," said Mrs. Newman. "It looks like a robber," cried Alice. "Oh ho," said Mr. Newman. "It's a robber, all right." "A garbage robber. It's a raccoon." He pushed over the garbage can. "A raccoon," cried Alice, and she laughed. The raccoon was sitting on the window looking in. "Look at him," cried Ben. "Say, he's watching TV." Mr. Newman went to the door. He was very quiet. Then he opened the door and cried, "Shoo! Shoo!" The raccoon jumped down from the window and ran into the woods. "There," said Mr. Newman. "I scared him away. He won't come back." "He was funny," said Alice. The next morning the garbage rolled all over the yard again. And the next night there was the raccoon sitting on the window again, watching TV. "Look," cried Alice. "Robber is back." "Hello, Robber," said Ben. "You like TV, don't you?" "He is funny," said Alice. Mr. Newman went to the door. He was very, very quiet. He opened the door and took the water hose. Whoosh, swoosh, whoosh. The water was all over the raccoon. He jumped down from the window and ran into the woods. "There," said Mr. Newman, "that garbage robber won't come back." "Poor Robber," said Alice. "He looked so scared." But the raccoon did come back. The next morning the garbage was all over the yard again. That night, too, he came looking for food. Again he pushed over the garbage can. Again the garbage was all over the yard. "Look at this yard," cried Mrs. Newman. "Can't we stop him?" "Yes," said Mr. Newman. "I am going to stop him." That night he put the garbage can in the tool house, and he hooked the door. "Poor Robber," Alice said to Ben. "Nothing to eat tonight." But that night there was a big bang, crash, bang. "It's Robber," cried Ben. "He got into the tool house." They all ran out to the tool house. "Look," said Mr. Newman. "See the way he got in?" Mr. Newman hooked the door again. "He can't get out," he said, "and I'm going to stop him for good." "No, no," cried Alice. "Let him go." "Let him go," said Mr. Newman. "Then he'll come back for the garbage again." "Let's put some food out for him at night," said Ben. "Then he won't push the garbage can over." Mrs. Newman laughed. "Yes, he can have a TV dinner." "All right," said Mr. Newman. "We'll see." He opened the door, and the raccoon ran back into the woods. The next night they put some food out for Robber. "Put it on the window," said Ben. "Then he won't be scared to sit there again." That night the raccoon did not go to the garbage can. He came to the window. He saw the food and ate it all. He sat watching TV, too. "Let's put the TV over here so he can see better," said Alice. The raccoon looked very happy. After that he came every night for his TV dinner, and they all watched TV together. Mr. and Mrs. Newman and Ben and Alice and Robert.